Hey guys, so in this video what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be showing you some basic ways to add some special effects to your Photoshop files. Now, when I look at my food face project, it looks pretty much done, right? All of the photos are in there. They're all organized the way I want them. However, there is something missing, and that's depth. And what I mean by that is all of these images are composed in a way that makes this look like a face, but there's a lack of shadows that creates the illusion that these aren't just a bunch of images collaged on top of each other and there's actually space in between each one of them. So in order to do that, I'm going to be showing you something called layer styles. The way that you can explore the different layer styles is by going down to your layers panel and then clicking an object. So I want to add some more depth to the topmost layers. For example, I think that the nose could really benefit from this. So I'm going to click the nose layer, and then I'm going to go down to where it says FX right there, and I'm going to click that. Then you'll see that a bunch of options come up. But what we're going to be focusing on right now is drop shadows. Drop shadows are really cool. It comes with a bunch of options, and it actually comes with a little preview panel as well. You can mess around with these scales and see what this layer style really does. But just to give you an idea, distance, you can change how far the shadow is from the actual fruit. The spread changes it from hard edges to soft edges. The size, pretty self-explanatory stuff. You can even change the color of the drop shadow if you really want to. I think that the way I have it right now is perfect. I think maybe I'll bring the opacity up a little bit more, and I think that really does the trick. So I'll hit OK, and you can see that adds a lot more dimension and adds kind of space in between the objects. Now I'm going to add a few more drop shadows across the entire project, and then I'll get back to you after that. Alright, so I added some drop shadows, and I think it looks a lot better now, but there is a couple more things that I want to experiment with. Now, when it comes to the text, it's a little bit plain right now. The cool thing about layer styles is you don't only have to add it on top of photos, you can actually add it on top of text as well. So I'm going to go back down to effects, and let's mess around with the stroke. Something you'll learn very quickly once you get into digital design is stroke is another word for outline. So when you're changing the size of a stroke, you're pretty much changing the size of an outline. On the layer styles, you can position the stroke from the inside, the outside, or the center. Outside works a little bit better if you don't want to change the width of your text. And you can change the color of it as well to make it kind of pop out a little bit more. So now I'm just going to add that same stroke to the other line of text. And that looks awesome. So now I'm going to jump back into the top line of text, and I'm going to go back into the effects panel. And this time I'm going to jump into the outer glow. Outer glow is pretty cool. It's similar to a drop shadow, but it doesn't act as a drop shadow. It's more similar to if you had a neon sign that was glowing, that's the effect that it goes for. So you can change the color of it. So let's say I want to make it orange. Change the size of it. You'll see that that really helps it establish itself a little bit more. You can bring up that opacity. And if you want it to be a little bit more solid, you can go to the blend mode and change it from screen to normal, and you'll really notice a big difference in that. So pretty cool. Last one we'll go over is the bevel and emboss. Now this is cool because as you can kind of see, it adds that dimension that I was talking about. Pretty much it treats the text as if there's a light source and there's a bevel on your text. So again, these are all the options to make it look a bit different. You can change the depth of it, size of the bevel, a whole bunch of things. I won't go over every little thing because this is really something that you're going to want to explore. Now, last thing that I want to show you guys that involves text is something called text warp. This is super simple and will be really helpful when you're working with typography. If you go all the way up to the top of your screen and you click type, and then you go to warp text, this little menu will come up, and on default it'll say none, but it actually gives you a visual representation of all the different options you have. For example, there's a bulge, there's a flag, and then you can mess around with those scales to make it look extra crazy. We'll try something else out on the bottom piece of text. And look at that. Alright, so that's pretty much all I have to show you involving special effects. Just remember, although this project is silly, it really does help you experiment with Photoshop and all the different options that you have. And it'll definitely help us out a little bit further into the year. So have fun with it, and I can't wait to see what you guys come up with.